don't hold off if you are going to break up with someone.
Yeah.
For the love of love, like literally, do not hold off. Because you will start to then not even trust yourself, because then you're showing up fake in that relationship because you're 1 foot in, 1 foot out anyways. So you will not even be able to trust your own commitment level. Like there are so many things I see that absolutely destroy. I'm Izzy.
I'm Maggie.
And this is the Long Game Podcast where we talk all things faith, relationships, and wellness.
Yes.
And rats and chickens and all the things.
Yes.
So.
And phobias, you know.
Yes. Anyways, today we are going to actually be talking about hard conversations and why you should have the hard conversations. Times when I personally have not had the hard conversation, really wish I had and didn't. And then times I've had the hard conversation and done it not well too.
Ooh, oh,
like
wow,
just
that's a good
been
one.
like, ooh, what really?
Yeah.
It's not that, you know? So I just think it's a good starting point for
Absolutely
hard conversations. And I think it's something that is really easy to avoid. The older I've gotten, I've realized two things. One, have it as early as possible, have the hard conversation.
Yeah.
And two, like really try to give some little bit of vulnerability whenever you have the hard conversation. Like always be vulnerable in how you feel about it. And I feel like that's helped me so much. And I wish I would have known that at a way younger age.
Yeah. That's so helpful because I think what I find very hard with having the hard conversations is feeling afraid of like their response. And so then I almost go on the attack sometimes.
Yeah. Yeah.
Because I'm just feeling so defensive.
Yeah.
But then I'm attacking because I'm just defensive.
Yeah.
But
Yeah.
then that puts the other person in a really
defense.
hard place to have a really vulnerable conversation.
Yes.
Like especially if it's in a relationship.
Yeah.
That is not the way to go about it. But that's something I've struggled with. But being vulnerable is so helpful because then that puts your walls down and it also puts their walls down because now I'm not attacking. I'm just being vulnerable with where I'm coming from.
Yes. I literally did that last week with Mitchell. I don't even know what it was. I said, you know what? I think I'm just feeling a little insecure about this. I was like, I don't know why I was having an attitude or something. I think I'm just being a little insecure.
Yeah.
And then immediately he's like, oh yeah, I'm sorry. Like, okay. Like I was like, yeah, I got to reframe this. And then and then I can talk to him about the thing that I'm feeling about. But if you can come to it with a little bit of vulnerability, oh my gosh, it helps so much.
That's huge. Yeah. Matthew actually did that for me. Like it was just a few days ago, but we have a certain topic that we talk about. And when we talk about it, I think we really want to come at it as a team.
Yeah.
But he told me, he was like, after we talked about it, he was like, I feel like when we talk about it, we want to be a team, but it feels like we're both really defensive about it.
Yeah.
And he was like, it feels like we're not on the same team. And immediately, like, I felt all of the tension melt away. And I was just like,
just addressing it.
Like, I want to be on the same team. Like, I don't want to, like, be attacking when we talk about this. Like, I want to be on your team. Like, we are. But as soon as he brought it to light, like, literally felt the tension melt away for both of us.
That's spiritual.
It was amazing.
That's really like the devil trying to get into your relationship, and then you bring it to light.
Yeah.
And
I really did think exactly about that afterwards because I was like, that was actually a very deep moment that we had.
That's
and
huge.
It made me think about what we've talked about too, which is he wants, like, the devil wants to keep things in the dark. Like, he doesn't want us to actually talk about it directly and address it. Yes.
Dude, I've been realizing this a lot more, and I realized that's something that I've been getting attacked with a little bit is like remembering these things that people have done or said to me to hold on to the grudge and be hurt. And I have just been saying every time I hear that, I'll just say, get behind me, Satan.
Wow.
And it has been so powerful to just say that.
Yeah.
Because it's literally something Jesus said when someone was speaking doubt into him, I think. Someone was just speaking, I think he said it to literally one of his disciples.
When he was in the... Oh, it was one of his disciples.
He said it to one of his disciples because he knew what was going on and said, get behind me, Satan. And I have started to say that, and I have like started to feel more power in that too. And that's really cool because when you were saying that, I was like, oh yeah, that was you guys taking it back and being like, no, we are on the same team here.
Right.
Yeah. That's
but
really
it's
cool.
like, I feel like because we are in our faith, sometimes the devil almost has to be like sneakier about how
Yeah.
he attacks us.
Yes.
And so sometimes it doesn't feel like, no, this is like an attack from the devil. It just feels like, we're not communicating well, but like that's how he like tries to sneak in. So bringing it to light
Pray about
is
it.
so
Yeah.
powerful. But I have been very averse to like confrontation.
Yeah.
Like growing up, like I just never wanted to confront anyone about anything or be confronted. And so that's been a big thing that I've had to grow in. And I know that you've gotten really good at that too, about just like directly addressing
Just saying it.
problems, having that conversation, even
Yeah.
talking about having those conversations up front with Mitchell right as you started dating.
Yes.
You know, just like, let's get these big core things out of the way, make sure we're
Yeah.
aligned, and let's not wait, because I think the reason we wait is because we're afraid of the answer. But it's like, if you get the wrong answer, the answer you don't want, then you have that clarity that much sooner. Mm-hmm. So
Yeah. No, 100%. And I think too, when you think about the fear, because I really like leaning into whatever the fear is, because then it's really not as bad.
Yeah.
Like the worst case scenario is never that bad. Dude, yesterday I had someone call me, his old student that I work with, bad situation with team, really tough. And I was like, all right. And I know we've talked on this about here before, but I think it's just really good to keep on talking about. I was like, okay, so why are you not making this decision? Well, I'm afraid of what these people think. I'm like, perfect. Name out every single person that you're afraid of. She's like, well, I'm like, name them all right now. Only gets out like 7. Okay, that's a good amount of people. I'm like, fantastic. I said, okay, now what is the number one thing that you're afraid, like the worst thing that they could think and say about you? Say it right now. You say it, and it's just like, you just say it like, okay, I think they're gonna think I'm a quitter. And then I'm like, do these people matter in your life? Do you care about these people? Are they in your life? Like, and you just like and then you just, all you do is just ask questions enough.
Yeah.
And then it's like, okay, yeah, no. I feel like the worst case scenario, going there is so good.
It feels so much worse in your head, but actually laying it out like you do with your students is so helpful, because it's like, oh, even if that happened, it's not the end of the world.
Yep. I'm like, all right, I have this hard conversation. What's the worst thing that happens?
Yeah.
Okay. They get upset at me for a second. I know we're going to work through it anyways. Okay. At least I was honest about it.
Yeah.
And then it's never as bad as you think it's going to be.
Yeah.
Like, cause you got it out. You said the thing.
Yeah.
I think, I was going to talk about a time that I also handled something like not good and went. So I think when I was like 17, 18, I was so defensive. I was so like, just like, here I am, take it for what it is or leave it, like, I was just way more intense.
Yeah.
I'm still intense, but I wasn't as like compassionate as I would have liked to have been. And it was a conversation with a coach that I need to have. And it's just never good to just storm into a conversation. You know what I mean?
Because that puts the other person, like you said, on the defensive.
Yeah,
right away.
yeah. But I actually didn't storm into. I stormed out of this conversation. But
Not as
basically,
bad,
this coach said, it is bad. This coach said to me that basically he was like, well, you had this injury. And this was a deal, and we knew that coming in. We knew that either we were going to use you for a season, and then you were going to be too injured to keep on playing, or maybe you were going to drop out, basically. And he said that, and like he said, they were going to use me for the season, and then I was going to be done because I got injured, because like the injury was too bad. And I was like, how dare you? How dare you? I do think it's wrong. I do stand by that, like, being wrong.
That's fair.
Also, you're kind of dumb for telling me that. Like, that's also on you.
Right.
But in that moment, I got so angry at him. And if instead I would have said, man, I thought we had a better relationship than that. I thought that you cared about your program. You cared about your team. I thought personally you would care about me more than to do something like that. And I'm shocked right now, and I'm really hurt. That would have gone so much better than what I did, which was like, are you kidding me? got up, slammed the door. Like, I forget what I yelled something. Like, I think it was just like, are you kidding me? And I slammed the door in his face and like walked out.
Yeah.
I did that because the reality was I was super, super hurt.
Yeah.
And I was feeling so sad that like this was someone that I loved. This was a coach that I loved. And I was like, how could you do this to me?
Right.
But I didn't say that. I was just like, what's wrong with you? You're insane, you know? And then I didn't. And it's just like, man, that would have been way better to handle it that way.
Right.
Because I think it would have landed, because he's a great guy. Like, I still have a good relationship with him. That was not cool what he did, but I think it would have gone better than being like hot-headed.
Right, but you then getting upset and slamming the door doesn't put him in a position to like want to have a conversation about it. Although, to be fair, like, you were much younger, and that is like really hard news to hear. So can also see where you were coming from on that. But
yeah, I was so much more hot-headed back then. I'm like, oh my gosh, like I would get so mad.
yeah, I think you've become like very strategic.
Yes.
Not in a manipulative way, but just like in a emotional maturity sense, like strategic in how you handle those conversations.
Yeah.
Because there are strategic ways to handle those so that they go well.
Yes, 100%. And like the only difference between just, manipulating someone and then motivating someone or informing someone is just your intent.
Yeah.
Behind it, right?
Yeah.
We're all trying to get someone to understand certain things.
Right.
And, I see this in business owners a lot, and I just smaller, not big name players, like smaller people around me that are like, get attitudes with their clients and stuff. And I just don't understand. I'm like, this is really not smart. If you just can try a little bit to be a little bit nice about the situation, usually that client's going to be really, really happy. They're going to be heard. They're going to feel great about it.
Yeah.
But when you are instead like, because I had to deal with this person in business, and she was just like not cool about something and was like, nope, sorry, that's just the way that I run business or whatever.
Yeah.
And then it pissed me off, and I was like, yeah, I'm not working with you anymore. Like, I'm not going to do that anymore. But she was like, you'll never see me beating around the bush. I am so upfront about everything. And I said, I didn't actually say this because I was like, okay, well, I'm never dealing with you in business again, and this is why your business sucks. But I was like, tact and delivery still go a really long way.
Yeah.
Delivery matters.
Yep. And I think you can be authentic and upfront, but you can also simultaneously be tactful with how you're delivering that information.
Yeah. And care about someone's feelings.
Like you said, compassion there. Like, that's huge.
Just literally care about their feelings for a second. And that's something I do a lot too. I just ask people pretty often in business, whether it's people who work for me, whether it's clients, how do you feel about that?
Yeah.
If people know that you genuinely care about how they feel about something, their guard is so much lower, and they're so much happier. Yeah. So like, as long as they know that person, that I care about the way they feel about it, it's almost always like, we're good. It's not that hard to like diffuse a situation. I grew up in a culture though that was like, we never apologize, like, you don't apologize for feelings, and like, someone's feelings is their own problem, and it's not your responsibility their feelings are, which like, it's not, but it doesn't mean that I can't care about their feelings and tell them that. Yeah. If it helps the situation,
Exactly. No, and I feel like I have heard that, like, you're not responsible for how they feel about, what you say. Like, that's on the other person. And like, that's true. But that doesn't mean that I can just say whatever and hopefully they deal with it well.
Yeah.
That's just not even Christian.
It's not.
That's not in the Christian spirit.
I used to be that way. I was raised that way. It's not an excuse, but I used to be like, well, it's their problem. They're going to take that how they're going to take that. And I'll never forget this. Another soccer coach, my goalie coach, called me because I was just like, well, whatever. I'm doing all the things. I'm working harder than everyone. And he said, yeah, I know you are, but perception's reality. And I was like, well, that's their problem. That's their perception of me. But I said that, but I was like, yeah, you're right, actually. And we're still.
Perception is a reality, yeah.
Your perception is your reality.
Yeah.
And he's like, so they're perceiving you this way? That's their reality.
Right.
You can change that a little bit.
Wow. That's powerful.
And I was like, yeah. you know what? You're totally right. And that's not meaning like looking different than you actually are,
Being
inauthentic. It's not
Yeah.
about that, because he saw that in my situation, I was outworking everyone.
Yeah.
I just didn't care for anyone to know. But because I didn't care for anyone to know, it looked like on paper I wasn't doing these things.
Yeah.
And I was getting in trouble for it. And I was like, dude, I don't care. I'm working 12 hours a day. I'm training double days. Do you think I care right now that people think this about me? Mm-hmm. And he was like, obviously you don't, but they're perceiving you this way. Mm-hmm. And you can do a little bit to change that. And I was like, that's just like maturity, you know? And I was like, you know what? You are really right, Chris. Chris Starr, you know who you are. I'm calling you out. Yeah, no, he said that to me. I was like,
That's
life-changing
awesome.
advice, because I was like, wow, okay.
That's really great advice.
You know?
I like that a lot. I think, like, just going back to talking directly to people, I really saw the power of that when I was planning my wedding, because there were like a lot of family dynamics going on. And I remember calling up a family member and just being like, hey, this is the situation. Like, I'd love for you to attend. Like, I know that X, Y, and Z is going on. Here's how, like, I want to support you. Here's, like, what I can do to make sure you're comfortable. And I remember that person going, like, wow, thank you for explaining all of that. Like, I wouldn't have known. And I feel like me a couple years ago would not have had that conversation. I would have been a lot more defensive. Like you were saying, I wouldn't have had that emotional maturity to, like, actually talk about it head on, like, address it directly. I would have been like, yeah, well, hopefully they come. If they don't, whatever. Like, I am not supposed to try to make them feel comfortable. And it's like, no, it can go a long way to just express where I'm coming from, just so they know. And, like, I hear you too. I know where you're coming from. I'm not here to change your mind or, like, change your opinion. Like, I'm not trying to beg you to do anything, but I just want to be vulnerable with you.
That's so
and
good.
There's so much power there.
Yeah.
Like, it changes the dynamic so much.
And it's just actually saying where you're at with what it is. It goes so far. I think right now too, I'm also learning the balance of, like, it's also like being a leader within something. Like, you can't share everything as a leader. There's a lot of stuff you do need to keep, because you're the leader and you're, like, the standard.
Yeah.
But you also need to have vulnerability. I think that's, like, the next phase that, like, I'm kind of learning right now too, is, like, where is the dichotomy of that? Where do I share, and where do I, just, hey, we're just moving along.
Wow.
And I think that's, like, that other level that I'm starting to learn and see where that's at. And, it's just like, if you're sick, sometimes if you're not feeling good in a day, like, I'm not going to tell someone on my team that I'm leading that for the most part. I'm just going to push through. Yeah. But if it's someone like you and we're in something together, I'm like, hey, dude, I'm dragging today. Right. There's like the difference, and trying to figure out when you share, who you share. I feel like that's the next phase. I'm trying to, like, learn that right now. Like, what's the balance of, like, how much do I say versus not say? And
that's very interesting.
Where do I lean in and out? Mm-hmm. But it's like a tough thing to do, but it's, the conversations are everything.
Yeah. Are there like past situations that you regret not confronting head on?
100%. So, and more than anything, this conversation I wish I was just more vulnerable in versus angry and hurt. But yes, and I can only think of, like, one specific, and I've always been, especially with dating and everything, I've always been really, really direct for the most part. Yeah. But there was this one guy, one time, and dude, this still haunts me, because I'm like, man, I felt cowardly for this. And he was asking me out and stuff, and we went out on a date, and then I just was like, not vibing. And I just was, like, slow to respond. I thought I was going to phase out. And he was, like, just trying to connect with me, and I was just giving a bunch of excuses. Mm-hmm. And I really don't like that I did that, because it's not the standard of who I am. It's not how I handle things. And everyone else, I've always been like, hey, sorry, I'm not looking. Always appreciated it for the most part. If they got mad, they're a child anyways, like, whatever. Like, I would appreciate someone, telling me, like, hey, I'm just not interested. Yeah. It hurt. Like, the truth hurts once. A lie hurts 1,000 times. Like, just tell the truth. And man, I just gave that guy the runaround. And I'm like, dang. And then it got to the point where he literally called me and was like, so like, this is how we could work this out. Like,
Aw.
and I just wasn't direct enough with him.
Yeah.
And it just, that's like one where I'm like, man, I wish I would have just been like, hey, I appreciate your time. I appreciate you pursuing me. This is just not the right fit for me.
Yep.
That's the reality. And I don't want to waste your time. There's a great girl out there for you who wants to be pursued the way that you're pursuing me. I appreciate it. I just want to be direct with you. Again, thank you so much for your time. Like, just that.
Yeah.
Gosh, it would have been 10,000 times, but I never ever did that again because I felt so slimy.
Yeah.
I felt like a coward.
It's so common though, and I've been in that position too where it's like, I want to do anything but like be direct.
And it's because you don't want to like hurt their feelings,
But
too.
it's so much worse.
It's so
when you don't.
Dude, I literally think about that one. I'm like, I don't even remember that guy's name. And I'm just like, I hate that I did that.
Yeah. Oh, I'm sure he's fine.
Yeah, he's probably married and has 5 kids. Like, it was a long time ago. But that was the time that I'm just like, dang, I can't believe I did that.
Right.
And then more recently, I think more than anything, I've just been super vulnerable with people in my life.
Yeah.
In certain situations.
I
where
can see that.
I'm
Yeah,
just
I've
like,
seen that.
hey, my feelings are super hurt. Yeah. And just owning it. Like, yeah, maybe you think I'm super sensitive. I guess that's just the way God made me. I am. I do love you. I do want to work this out. I'm crazy hurt though. So can you talk to me or something,
Yeah.
And I always feel good about that, to be honest. I'm not even like,
That's
I'm just like,
awesome.
I put it out there.
This is a tangent, but did you see you know who Forrest Frank is? Did you see that whole thing? That was so cool.
That was really dope.
Yeah.
Vulnerability. Yes. And he said that. He was
He
like,
said
yeah.
maybe I'm super sensitive, but he was like, my feelings are hurt by this. Like, I just want to be honest, And he was like, I know when I became someone in the spotlight, when I went on media, like, I knew that I was going to get, hey, I was just setting myself up for that. But he was like, I do want to be honest, like, this did hurt my feelings. Like, super receptive. On the other end, Corey Asbury being like,
yes.
Yeah, like, I really am so sorry. I did not mean to hurt your
And
feelings.
then he was like, and can I also be vulnerable, Yeah.
Yep.
I didn't listen to all of it, but
No, I didn't either. But what I did see, I mean, and it was just such a positive reaction from everyone being like, wow, you guys handled that so well. But there was that vulnerability on both sides.
Yeah, but he didn't just make a video back of being like making fun of the other guy. It was just like immediately like, yeah, this is how I feel about this vulnerability coming to the plate with that.
Yeah.
It changes the entire tone. Like, they could have just been like enemies on opposite sides of the internet now.
Yep.
And now they're going to probably make an awesome song together.
Right. Yeah. And it was a great example for, and all of those videos went viral, and what a great example for everyone who watched it to see.
Just have the conversation.
Yeah.
Yeah.
But I do think it would have been hard, and we can talk about this too, is like when your vulnerability isn't received, like had someone just when you do try to be vulnerable, and that's not received on the other end, because that does happen, and then that kind of puts you in a pretty tough position to be like, I have put myself out here now, and there's not a whole lot else I can do if you are not going to receive and reciprocate the vulnerability, because that's needed.
Yes, 100%. And yes, I think she's also speaking into some very personal things that I've had in relationships that you've seen me be vulnerable and like get hurt. And it's painful, no doubt. When you're trying with someone and they're not receptive, even when you're vulnerable, you're like, hey, this really hurt me. And they're just not going to. That will hurt no matter what. But then I can be free of it because at least I tried. Because the Bible says, be at peace with everyone. To the furthest you can possibly go, be at peace with them.
Yeah.
And some people are like, what, you're going to keep on like groveling for them or whatever? It's like, I'm not groveling. I'm just being really vulnerable. Like, and I want to work it out. And some people are just not, and I don't know, they'll probably come around. You know what I mean? They'll probably come around at some point. But yes, it doesn't mean that it always works out.
Right.
And I think that's
you
really
can put your best foot forward.
Good point. Yeah, this isn't like crack the code. It always works. I have relationships where people will not respond to me, even though I've been vulnerable. and it's they have a hard heart towards me. Like, that's the reality. There's, and I have hardness in my heart. Like, there's always things like that. And so it doesn't always work out for the best.
Right.
But for the most part, I've had like a really good response. And I think it's really just like, I'll always keep trying.
Yeah.
And that's all I can do. Like,
that's in your nature.
I can't.
And it's a beautiful thing. Like how much you fight for the people that you love and care about.
Yeah.
It's one of the best qualities, but it's also hard because it sets you up for feeling very hurt when that's not reciprocated. Like that is a very painful thing.
It is. It definitely is. But it also keeps my heart soft. And I think that's something that's really important, because when I was younger, I used to have a very hard heart. It was just how I protected myself. But a really hard heart, like I wouldn't cry for like years. Like I was just like, be strong, be tough. And I paid for that later, like not letting those emotions out. And now I find a lot of freedom in just being able to be vulnerable.
Yeah.
Even if they don't receive it, even if they like are like whatever to you and judge you for it, it's always worth it, because you put it out there and you're like, hey, yeah, I'm sensitive and this is whatever, and I'm hurt and I'm trying. Like I want, like it's always worth it.
Yeah.
Anyways.
Absolutely.
Because then you have a clear conscience, you have peace, and you also honored that piece of yourself that was really hurt.
Yeah.
You didn't deny it and pretend like.
I 100% agree. And this is probably, I don't know if you can say for certain one way or the other, like when do you like stop trying? And like you said, like you will always try. Like, is there a point where, because when you have shared and been vulnerable and that hasn't been received, like is there a point that, or do you feel like, no, we'll just periodically keep trying?
Yeah.
Because I don't have the answer for that either.
Yeah. I think, and I'm in that battle right now in certain relationships of my life of like, when do you stop trying? I think it's not like you ever stop trying. It's just like the degree to which you're trying, and then the like outreach on that, basically.
Yeah.
But I think that's just a tough question, because I have no idea, and that's what I wrestle with too, because I'm like, because it's very hard for me to be like, this person doesn't want to talk to me and doesn't want to resolve anything for me, or with me.
Right.
And then like be like, fine, they want nothing to do with me. Okay. Hard heart towards them. It's very hard to live in the like, all right, I've tried everything, I'm just gonna let that go, because it feels like kind of like, it's still there. And this isn't like someone I like distantly know. This is an immediate family. This is someone close to me. That's hard to figure out what to do.
Yeah.
How do you do that? No idea. I'm just gonna keep praying on it and like try. But like that, there's nothing. I don't know.
That's really fair. I appreciate you being, so honest about it too.
Yeah.
I agree. I mean, I know that's a hard question to ask, but I think it's even your answer is helpful too, is just like to pray on it,
Yeah.
And to keep your heart soft.
Yeah.
Because I'm sure that's a battle too, to not put those walls up because you feel like someone else's walls are up.
It's easier to do that.
Yeah.
It's really so much easier to put the wall up,
Yeah.
because then you don't have to like feel that pain of that rejection. It's like, well, I just don't care about this person. So, and I think it's also just probably a maturity piece. I bet people who are further along in this road have a much easier time just being like, hey, I've tried to put it all out there. I'm really neutral. It's whatever. It's when they are going to eventually come around. I'm just not there.
Right.
I don't know if that's just a time thing, maturity thing, probably a both kind of thing, or just never, because I'm super sensitive. I have no idea, but it's like, it's just part of being a human and learning and growing.
Yeah.
But I 100% will always recommend like still put it all out there.
Yep.
Because I always think like, man, if I died or they died, I don't want to live with, not have tried my absolute hardest to mend this.
Yes.
That thought pushes me every time to be like, okay, I'm going to reach out. Time to get burned again.
I know, you kind of do look at the big picture though, even if it feels a little morbid, it's like, no, I don't want to live in that, I don't want to have regrets like that. Like I didn't try my hardest.
Yeah.
Or I wasn't vulnerable enough.
Yeah, exactly. And I really think so much can be solved with just a conversation if people just talk.
Yeah.
I really think so many, I've had really few times where then I've actually had a vulnerable conversation with someone and then that situation got worse.
Yep.
Very few times. I
Yeah.
can't think of any right now, to be honest, but I'm like, there's probably some.
But I think if you're dealing with a reasonable person,
Yeah.
that is most often the case.
Yeah, it's when people don't want to actually have a conversation. They want to do a little here, there, and then do a little like fester on a feeling of something.
Yeah.
That's where it's going to be like, well, because there's going to be so many assumptions made on both sides,
Right.
you know? So,
Yeah.
it's a tough one. I have no idea. What about you? Any conversations you wish you had that you didn't have?
Oh, man.
In the dating world, maybe?
Yeah, I mean, for sure in the dating world, there were definitely relationships, and I don't know if I can think of any off the top of my head, like you said, where it's like I probably erred on the side of ghosting more than like actually saying like, hey, I just don't think you're the person for me. Like, thanks so much for you know, your time or for, you know, that date, whatever, but I'm just not interested kind of thing.
Thanks for the cough.
Yeah, I think I had, I did have one person who I wish I'd been a little more direct with, and I was kind of just like, you know, like, I don't hate you, but like, I don't think you're my husband kind of thing, but never directly said anything. And I wish I had, because they were a very nice person.
Yeah.
And it's just like an icky
It's
feeling.
the worst, dude.
An
It's
icky
sticky.
feeling.
It's like,
Yeah.
why did I do that?
I
I
know.
just feel like a coward.
Yeah, but when you're in it, like, and there have been times where I was direct with someone and I hated sending that text and I didn't want to, but it was like received so well. Like, I've had,
I know.
yeah, it was like, they were like, thanks so much. Like, let me know if anything changed, whatever it is. It like received really well. I'm just
I
like,
know.
wow.
I've never had anyone be like, really, I don't think upset about any like that.
Yeah.
I think they've always been like, oh, thanks. And also, I've had guys do that to me before. If I'm like, dude, why'd you give me the runaround? Just tell me. Like, I don't want to deal with
when
this.
you're
This
on
is
the
such
other
a
end.
waste
Absolutely.
of time.
Yeah,
Like,
I've been ghosted.
yeah. The sting of the truth hurts, but then it hurts. Okay.
But
and that's it.
my mom, I remember her saying that she would say like, I can handle the truth. I just can't handle you lying to me. Like that. And
Yeah.
that really resonated with me, because I was like,
whoa.
man, that's super powerful.
Yeah.
Like, just be honest, because lying is so much worse. Or not even, I mean, obviously we weren't lying, but just not being fully upfront.
Yeah.
You know what I also regret?
Speaking of regrets.
But like, on the topic of being direct, is when someone says something super out of pocket or like inappropriate or something, and I haven't said something.
Ooh, yeah.
And you know, you go back and you're like, man, I wish I would have said that. Like, not even anything like mean to them, but just being like, hey, like, that was unnecessary to say.
Yeah. Yeah.
But in the moment, I feel like I typically am caught off guard,
You're
and
like,
I try to ignore it because I'm like, oh, I don't want to like embarrass this person. But it's like,
Yeah.
if you're gonna say something out of pocket,
yeah.
I want to say something. I was even telling Matthew that recently. I was telling him about someone, and I was like, if they say something again like that, I'm gonna say something. And he was like,
Yeah.
okay, you can, you should, you know.
Yeah.
And I was just giving him a heads up, but I do regret those instances, you know? I'm like, I wish I would have said something.
I think I'm a little too forward sometimes.
I don't,
because
think
I'll
that's
be
your
like,
problem.
absolutely not. Why would you have said that?
Yeah.
You know,
I
and
know.
sometimes I'm
I
like,
freeze. I'm
probably
like,
should have had a little more tact there.
Right.
Because you don't want to embarrass someone. I don't want to. I'm not trying to make someone feel bad, but I'm also like, no, that's not okay.
And maybe it would be something more appropriate to like address with them one-on-one if you're in the
Hey,
group.
see, then
or
you
something.
can go back and talk about it.
Yeah, exactly. But I feel
Yeah.
like I usually just freeze, and sometimes I'm like, man, I wish I would have just said a little something.
Yeah, I think everyone has those where they're like,
Yeah.
oh, I should have said that or not said that. But
Right.
if-
Oh yeah, I've also been the person to say things, and later on I'm like, man, why would I say that? That's embarrassing.
Oh yeah, of course. Ugh! And then
Yeah.
you just lay at night thinking about those things. You're like,
Yep. Yeah.
Yeah. No, usually when, because I'll get like, okay, I'll get a little fired up. You know me, obviously. And then I just get the pat on the leg from Mitchell. He's just like rubbing my leg. He's like,
See him do that.
like,
I
okay.
see the pat.
he gets a little uncomfortable because I'll go ahead. Like,
Yeah.
you know, even times with Matthew, not in a bad way, but I'll just be like, why? Why does that have to be? Why do you have, why? You know?
Yeah. He's he's a good person and a bad person to do that with for you, because he will like go head to head. He'll be like, all right, let's talk about it.
Yeah, to be fair, me and Matthew debating something, like, we will not stop, so it's
Mitchell
not even a good
and
place.
I sit there.
Yeah, it's
and
not.
We just listen. Like, we don't even like participate, and then
Yeah.
it's Matthew and Izzy just debating.
Yeah, we haven't done one in a long time because
No.
I think after one of them that went so long, I was like, you know what? I should avoid those moving forward.
Right.
And
Maybe it's not.
Yeah,
super
and he was like,
productive.
yeah, probably.
But he
you know?
loves debating.
I know.
Though.
Well, I do
and
too.
You do too.
I know. So then
And you guys are similar. Mitchell and I are similar. Mitchell and I are just like, dude, let's have a margarita. It's okay.
Let's have a marg, guys. Can't we all just get
Can't
along?
we all be friends? Yeah, it's never unfriendly though. It's always like just debating.
Yeah, that's like, not to be like, oh, we're so emotionally mature, but it is emotional maturity to be able to conversationally disagree with someone.
Yeah.
And not be like, well, now.
And not take it personally.
Yeah, I can't talk to, or be like, well, now I'm out of alignment with you, and I see you differently. It's like, no, we like, don't see
I am
things.
not as good at that. Maybe I'm not emotionally mature. Like, that's like a boundary that Matthew and I had to make, because we used to like have debates and we just get debatey, but I would take it personally because I apparently I'm not mature enough.
Well,
but I don't know. It just was not for me. He's also a lot better at debating, so I would never win.
Yeah.
And that's not fun. And
Yeah.
so, like, we just don't really debate anymore.
You're like,
and that's much better for us.
Yeah, I will. The problem with me there, too, is like, because I'll just be like, well, it's very interesting you think that. And I used to do that as a kid to my older siblings. I'd be like, well, you can think what you want to think, and I'll just know what I want to know.
Yeah.
And they would be like, like, you know,
That's
so
infuriating.
yeah. And so I'm like, that's not good either. But I would like make people mad
Yeah.
doing that. you
Yeah. I if Matthew and I ever get on the cusp of that, I go, my feelings are getting hurt.
That's
I
good.
just say it out loud. And then he goes, okay,
Vulnerability.
all right. Yeah, truly, honestly.
Yeah.
Yeah, even in like a funny way, like I'll like pretend like I'm gonna start crying, you know, and but it also lets him know, all right, like
We're hitting max capacity.
we're hitting the max of like, this was a fun debate, and now Maggie's gonna get in her feelings actually. So
yeah. No, Mitchell and I don't do that at all, to be honest. Like
that's
yeah.
probably good.
Yeah.
Yeah. I don't recommend it. Matthew just loves to debate.
Yeah. Hey, I'll debate with him.
Yeah,
but
he debates with the guys at work. Like he's got his people to debate with. I don't need to be
he
one of them.
gets it out.
He's okay. Yeah, he's just fine.
Yeah, no, that's fun. I love that you've seen that with Mitchell just being like, okay. Yep.
He literally says that too. He
Yep.
goes, okay.
Yeah, because I'll just
Uh-huh.
I don't know. I've never had a problem like questioning things or being like, what? Why do you think that? You
Yeah.
know?
Yeah.
Like, Mitchell's like,
It makes him uncomfortable. I get that. I do get that.
yeah.
for sure.
No, and I try and be respectful. I don't want to just make him be uncomfortable while I'm
Yeah.
just like, well, I hate to disagree with you, Bob, but you know,
But you're wrong. Here's
you
why.
are wrong. No. Okay, wait. What was the point? Where do you even go with that? Just leaning into the hard conversation.
Yeah, I
is
think so.
probably like. Obviously, I've made so many mistakes, so I just want someone to hear this and be like, okay, yeah, I should lean into them, and I think bringing awareness to my emotional maturity has been really, really good. Because I've been able to see my immaturity in that and be like, okay, yeah, that's pretty immature of me. Doesn't mean I can just fix it right away, but it's like, okay, how would a mature person handle this? And then I can think about that. I'm like, okay, they would be way more neutral. They'd be so neutral about that.
Yeah.
And it's just, that's hard. It's hard to do that. Like, as you're still, like, we're still young, you know? It's hard to be totally just like, okay, totally neutral.
Right. Not take anything personally.
Have all these feelings.
100%.
Yeah.
Agree.
So,
I think also, like, I have really found the value, and I'm still learning this, but like the value of confrontation. I used to be so averse to it, and I really do see the more I lean into it, and it's not negative confrontation, it's not attacking confrontation.
Yes,
it
vulnerable.
but it's vulnerable, and it's direct. It's just directly addressing
Be direct.
whatever conversation needs to be had, and there is so much value there. I think a lot of us don't like confrontation.
Yeah.
No matter what, if it's like the healthy kind or the unhealthy kind, you know, but the healthy kind is absolutely important. If you value your relationships and your friendships, you do need that.
Yeah.
And I've avoided that for so long. And I really have, like, recently in the past couple of years, like, really seen the value, because it makes your relationships and your friendships stronger.
Yep.
Ultimately.
Because it builds trust. I can now
Yeah.
trust that when something's going on, you will tell me,
Yep.
even if it's
Yeah.
not what I want to hear.
Mm-hmm.
Because bad news doesn't get better with time.
No.
It gets worse.
Yep.
Okay. So, and I think that also, we're about to wrap up, but I do think this is something actually really important for people breaking up with people. Don't hold off if you are going to break up with someone.
Yeah.
For the love of love, like literally, do not hold off.
Mm-hmm.
Because you will start to then not even trust yourself, because then you're showing up fake in that relationship because you're 1 foot in, 1 foot out anyways. So you will not even be able to trust your own commitment level. Like, there are so many things I see that absolutely destroy. And I think at a younger age too, you see it like, oh, but we have that trip planned, or we have that thing, so I'll do it after then. Do not wait.
Yeah.
Do not wait.
That's
do it
really good
once you
advice.
know, because that, man, like, I've seen that be so bad. Don't wait.
Yeah.
As soon as
And
you know,
like you said, it's detrimental for both parties.
yeah, it's not just for
even
them.
like it hurts the other person, or, you know, it hurts you, whatever it is. Like, it hurts
both you guys badly.
Yeah.
Don't wait. You will lose so much trust in yourself. You have to, when you know, it's like, okay, I move. Like, have integrity with your own emotions there.
Yeah.
Your own feelings, your own thoughts. Okay, this is the reality of the situation. You're going to lower your integrity if you're like, okay, but I'll wait. I'll do it this way. And then you've literally lowered that.
Mm-hmm.
And now you're moving forward at this base level.
Yeah.
And you're not going to trust yourself that much, because really,
Yeah.
so you bargained like a lifetime relationship, right? That you were thinking about for a couple more months over, like, in that time, because you hung on to that person, you could have just missed meeting the love of your life. Mm-hmm. You will, like, there are consequences for hanging on to things when you know you got to move on.
Wow.
You know, and I don't know why I needed to say that. You know who you are if you need to hear that.
That is really powerful.
Yeah.
Absolutely.